Yeah, well, we have the results from the medical examiner's report, first of all, and that is that all three individuals were killed by firearms. We also have identified all three individuals. We did that late last night, but wanted to make sure that before we release that information to the public, that we were able to contact all the family members and loved ones so that they heard it from us and not online or not through rumors. So essentially we're naming the three victims. Also, what we did in the press release is we're confirming the fact that there was a 2-month, 11-year-old child that was found about a mile away from the scene, but it was just moments after we received the call for the individuals that had been murdered, the two individuals murdered and left on the roadway. We received a call for a young child left alone, and officers arrived there, and there was a little boy just shy of 3 years old, covered in blood, and of course our instinct was that it could be related, and it is related. He's a child of Mr. Eubanks, one of the victims from the first incident.
And is that child injured? How is that child doing?
Fortunately, well, physically the child is doing very well. We reunited the child with his mother, physically doing well. You know, at that age, less than 3 years old, we're not going to get that much information out of him, but I'm sure that he will likely live with the impacts of the trauma, because although we don't have all the information at this time, the fact that his father was killed with a firearm, the fact that he had blood on him indicates that most likely he was there when one or both of the original murders was committed. So I do feel, obviously my heart goes out to the family of all three individuals, and then this little child who not only lost his father but had to witness this act most likely. It's got to be devastating.
Is there any way you can confirm at this point the two individuals that were found in the street? Do you know if they were shot in the street, or there was some speculation that maybe the bodies were dropped off?
Yeah, we're still putting that together, and there is a chance that they were dropped off. So what we do know is that we didn't receive a call of gunfire like we did later on in the afternoon when the third individual was killed. It was a call of individuals lying on the street that appeared to be bloody. So that usually indicates, because guns make a lot of noise and it's the middle of the day, there were a lot of people outside, there is a good chance that they were shot perhaps somewhere else altogether, or perhaps they were shot inside a motor vehicle. So all details that we are putting together, but we haven't drawn any conclusions just yet.
Can you confirm at this time if the two individuals that were found earlier in the day, were they dating, or was there any relation to each other?
They were at least friends. There could have been a dating relationship. I don't know that we've established that, but we know that they were friends. You know, they were voluntarily together. Their families knew that they spent a lot of time together, so it makes sense that they would have been in a vehicle together.
And we also had gotten mentioned that there was a Jeep that was found, or a vehicle at least. Does that vehicle belong to any of the victims?
Well, we're not going to say who that vehicle belongs to at this time. We did about 7:30, 8 o'clock last night. We located a vehicle that had been in the area of at least one of these murders, and we were out looking for it. We did locate it last night. We did take possession of that vehicle. We towed it to get processed by our forensics team, and we're keeping most of the facts related to that Jeep not public at this time.
Okay, but you can confirm it may be.
It was something very much that we were interested in getting a hold of that Jeep, because we did think that there was a strong probability that it was involved in either one or both of these murders. And officers just on regular patrol spotted it last evening and took possession of it. They towed it for processing.
So you can't confirm that it was owned by one of the victims?
No.
Okay. Now that more facts are coming out, and especially the one about the child, how devastating is it to know that the more that this story unfolds, the more that there are these tragic facts connected in this situation? Yeah,
devastating is a perfect word for it. And the impact, we lost 3 young people. Those 3 young people have loved ones. At least one of them was a father. Absolutely devastating. And the fact that they were so young, I think 19 and 20, just the lives cut way too short. And I'm quite certain that when we figure out what the reason is, what the motive is, what the supposed reason is for the killing, it's not going to help at all. That we'll all still be quite devastated by this tragedy.
At this time, can you say if these situations were connected, or is that still under investigation?
That's still, yesterday I said that I strongly believe that because of my experience as a police officer, not necessarily the facts of the case, it's very odd, very unlikely that two murders would happen so soon after each other in nearly the exact same place. It was on the same block, just 100 or 200 feet or so away. So oftentimes, situations like this, when there's a murder one after another in the same neighborhood, there's elements of perhaps retaliation, something like that. Here we are still putting that together. Is it possible that they're completely unrelated and this is a coincidence? Yes. In my experience, that would be very that would be very unlikely. But we deal with a lot of unlikely things in this profession, so it's still a possibility.
And speak to the fact that yesterday you talked about how crime was decreasing in the city, and I imagine now you're hoping that this does not create a trend of more crime in the city.
Well, it's one of the things about, especially when you think of a situation where two individuals are murdered in such a violent way, if in fact they were dumped, I mean, there's a lot of consideration in that they could have been kidnapped. It could be a carjacking. It could be some sort of ransom situation. There's all these things when you think of a body being dumped. When you think of two bodies being dumped, as a police officer, it expands the scope of what sort of terrible criminal elements are involved in this. And now you have two people that have been killed. That really expands the amount of loved ones involved, but also if there's a criminal element, if this is connected to some sort of further crime, which I'm not suggesting it is at this point, but when we talk about, say, gang killings, there's a lot of revenge gang killings, and there's a lot of violence that you have to consider, a lot of chatter on social media, a lot of going back and forth. As you probably remember, a few days ago, we have a 7-year-old that was shot. Now, that was a stray bullet, but that was... our investigation so far says that a lot of that could have been driven by social media back and forth. And so if there is an element of gang activity associated with something like this, and there are two individuals that were killed, the fear of retaliatory shootings and this becoming sort of a cycle of one group seeking revenge on another group and then going back and forth, then you're talking about many people being shot. So that's why when you have murder so close in time and so close in geography, that's one of the things that we consider in examining. Is this case of revenge? Is it the same offender that's come back to seek further violence? Is it associates of the victims seeking revenge? All these things that you have to look at. So it definitely, as a police officer, it gives you a lot more to think about.
And I'm just looking at my notes, but just to make sure that I am hitting everything, one thing I do want to ask is, going back to the vehicle, was there anything in particular that you guys found in that vehicle that's connected to this?
Well, we're not ready to talk about specifics of what we found in the vehicle, but I tell you, when you look at the murder yesterday, the first murder, you have two specific crime scenes where the bodies were located. You then have an additional crime scene where the young man was likely dropped off. Then you have, hours later, a whole other murder where there's a large crime scene there with a number of shell casings there, lots of witnesses on the street. Then you have the vehicle, which was located someplace else. So there is so much forensic evidence possibilities at each and every one of those locations. And where did the vehicle travel? Did someone get out of the vehicle at a store where there could be a video camera, something like that? It really just expands the work of the detectives and the more they're looking at. So specifically, were we looking for anything in the vehicle? We're looking to process it completely. If there's a firearm in there, if there's a weapon in there, of course we're interested in that. But that's not where it ends for the vehicles. We want so many different things that could be found in and about that vehicle that could be the proverbial smoking gun in a case like this.
And talking about the neighbors in that neighborhood, yesterday you said that a lot of them were coming out saying we want to help. How did that go? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it definitely was a different feel than it was in Burton Heights, even as early as a year or so ago, where there was a lot of animosity, a lot of conflict with the police. There was over 100 people out there total. I spoke to many, many people, and it was a feeling of frustration, a feeling of sadness, a feeling of anger, but they have high expectations for their neighborhood. We have high expectations for their neighborhood, and they're not willing to settle. They're not willing to say that this is to be expected here. This is just how it is in this area, and we just have to live with it. They have taken the exact opposite approach. They're saying, nope, this is absolutely unacceptable. This is not what this neighborhood's about. We're not going to stand for this. And they were out there for, I think, as long as I was out there processing the scene. I don't know, it could have been 4 hours for the second one. There were still dozens and dozens of neighbors out there just saying, this is unacceptable. What can we do to help? And a lot of that is, well, tell us, did you hear something? Did you see something? Are you friends with somebody that maybe is reluctant to come to the police, but they'll talk to you and you can relay that information? Do you have doorbell cameras on your house, et cetera? And so the fact that that whole neighborhood showed yesterday that they're not going to tolerate violence. They want a safe place for themselves. They want a safe place for the children in that neighborhood. That was really great to see, because I think once you have the whole neighborhood saying this is not the place for violence, I think that's when you're really going to see safety improve. And I'd love for every neighborhood in the city to be like that.
Awesome. Those are all the questions I have. Is there anything I didn't ask that you feel is important?
Well, just important, number one, to say thank you for coming out. We have 3 lives that were lost, so getting the media attention is important to us, because if there is someone that has information, I want them to feel comfortable about coming forward. If they don't want to come forward to the police, go anonymously through Silent Observer. You can do it via telephone, online, you can text the information. But it is important, and we know there's a lot of witnesses out there with information, and hopefully we'll get that information to bring closure, bring justice to these families as fast as we can.
I'm sorry, one more quick question.
Sure.
We were out there earlier and we saw that there were still officers patrolling the area.
Yeah.
How long do you expect that to last?
Well, you're going to see an enhanced presence down there until we have justice for these people. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you.